Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to my Black Plague build. This is designed to be played in group play. It is a CC, Negate, and Defile Sorc. The whole point behind this build is to be able to lock enemies down so our DPS can move in for the kill and hinder the enemy players as much as possible. To achieve this, we'll go ahead and get right into the skills. On our front bar, we're running Absorb Magic. This is going to be our defense with a passive heal, but the main thing behind it is we're using it for the passive to be able to increase the amount of damage we can block with our sword and shield and reduce its cost. We take the Borrowed Time Morph for time stop. Again, to hinder enemies and reduce the 5,000 points of healing, then negate that out, so enemies aren't going to be able to keep their health up. This is kind of a flex spot for your pet. I run the Volatile Familiar because I run with really good healers and don't need the Matriarch, so I want the extra damage over time and the AoE stun. We take the Daedric Tome Morph for the mines so we can actually throw them out into specific locations. Razor Caltrops, and of course the Negate. Now the thing behind this bar setup, if you'll notice, the suppression field range is 41 meters, Caltrops 41 meters, Daedric Tome 41 meters, Borrowed Time range 41 meters. So what this allows us to do during the fight is to be able to target a specific area and go ahead and do that at range in fights. So if we're fighting from the top of a keep on our last imp defense, or if you just want to lay all this behind the enemies as you're getting ready to push through them, so as they retreat, they end up falling back into it. Okay, and on our back bar, we have our buffs. So we're going to be running Power Surge. We don't really care necessarily about the extra spell and weapon damage. The real reason why we run this is for the healing. So every time we have a critical hit go off, we're going to be healing ourselves. That's really big because you have the combination of your Hurricane, the Caltrops, our pets, all the stuff that's doing damage over time, and you're getting constant ticks of damage out there. So to be able to receive healings from when those go critical is a great survival tool for this particular build. Plus, two of our sets are actually going to be adding damage over time to the enemies as well. All of that which can give us a chance to get the heal off the damage over time ticks. Again, the Hurricane, which is going to be our main defensive buff, but also give us that chance to proc the Pulverize as a free execute with the Sorc. Rune Cage, which is just a ridiculous stun. Shattering Prison. And then Barrier. Actually need to get a Sky Shard to morph this, in which we will end up morphing it to the Reviving Barrier. So we go ahead and get the heal along with that for us and our teammates and be a good support. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the gear we're going to be using. First set is going to be Leeching Plate. We go ahead and run the Sword in Defending for the extra resistance on our front block bar. We get the extra healing taking, but being able to proc a damage over time and a poison effect on the enemies that are attacking us allows us also to receive a passive heal for 100% of the damage that that set's causing. We go ahead and run poisons just to get additional damage over time. All the damage that we do on this build is very small numbers, very small ticks, but a lot of ticks to help negate enemies from being able to get their health regen and stuff like that. We're not designed to kill enemies, we're just designed to completely negate as much as their healing received, potions, and their resources gathered, just to negate those out, lock them down so our DPS can go ahead and finish them. We go ahead and run Decisive on our restoration staff. That way we can keep our negate up as much as possible. Now, our first set for Defile is going to be the Thurvicoons. And how this set works is every time we take damage from a nearby enemy, we go ahead and put out a green AoE that will do a small tick of damage every second, but it will afflict them with the minor maim and minor defile, which is what we're really after here, reducing their damage done by 15% to everybody that they're attacking, and reducing their healing received and their health recovery by 23% just off of that one set. And we're combining that with Durok's Bane. Now with that, every time we take damage, we're going to apply the major defile for 4 seconds, reducing their healing received by 46%. So we're going to reduce their healing received by a total of 69% if they're being procced off of both sets. Everything within this too, you can see we're running the tri-stat glyphs on everything, including our jewelry. We go ahead and turn it into triune. And that covers the gear. Champion points being used. We go ahead and put 51 into Warlord to get the reduced cost of breaking free. 2 into Sprinter just because we have the 2 extra points and we needed to hit a percentage of something for them to be useful. From here on out, we'll be dropping everything into Siphoner to be reducing the enemy's resources and health recovery even further. Arcanist and Healthy to go ahead and get the extra recovery for our magic and health. 87 into Defile. This is what really turns up our major and minor defiles that we're proccing to allow us to hit the 69%. You could go ahead and throw in and get it all the way up to 70%, but at this point in time, the extra 13 points are more useful elsewhere. 44 into Shadow Ward for the reduced cost of block. 7 points into Blessed for the 2%. If you're going to run the Patriarch Twilight, you can go ahead and put more points into that, so you're doing more healing. At this point, I'm just throwing everything into the damage over time. The increased critical damage and healings that we receive off the critical strikes. Penetration, and increasing the physical poison and disease damage. Since all of the sets that we have are applying the disease, we go ahead and put a decent amount into that. Our defense is pretty standard, 66 into Ironclad. The extra 2 points over, we just throw into some spell resistance. 56 into resistance for the critical. 10% on Hardy and Elemental Defender for 43 points. And then 37 into the thick-skinned. You could balance this one a little bit higher if you want to stand in some players' AoEs to specifically proc the defiles on them. 16 into Expert Defender, and 7 into Quick Recovery just for a little bit of extra healing received. And that covers the champion points. On this specific build, we are running the Clockwork Citrus Fillet to go ahead and get the extra health recovery and magic recovery. Alright, I'd like to thank you guys for watching my Black Plague build. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to answer them the best that I can. And if you would like to see any gameplay footage of this build, just click on the video above. Thanks for your time.